So this evening we have a 2014 Chevy Equinox with the V6 direct injected. It was towed here, apparently quit while the customer was driving it and would not restart. Some preliminary tests have revealed that the fuel pump is not running in the tank, and when I scan it I retrieve this fault code, P023F, fuel pump control circuit. So let's have a look at the fuel pump circuit and the fuel pump driver module on this thing. So here's the conditions for setting P023F. The fuel pump power control module detects that the fuel pump current is less than 1 amp and the fuel pump duty cycle is greater than approximately 50% for 1 second. So an open in the fuel pump wiring problem would cause that. So let's have a look at the electrical circuit. So there are 2 power feeds to the fuel pump driver module. The main feed is battery power, pin 1 is red and white. There's an ignition feed to wake it up. I'm sure that those feeds are good, otherwise the fuel pump module would be reported as offline by the ECM. You cannot scan the fuel pump module. It is controlled through the ECM, but if you unplug this connector you lose communication with it, so I'm sure that there's battery power. We're going to check this power wire, and then the actual fuel pump for continuity. Let's have a look at where that actual fuel pump driver module is. So the fuel pump driver module is actually conveniently located under the rear cover by the spare tire, driver's side. So I've got the connector unplugged. This red wire with the white tracer and the black wire are power and ground. And I'm across those 2 wires right now. I've got a battery charger on it right now, that's why it shows 14.2. So I'm going to load test this power wire, and you can see it didn't drop significantly. So the power and ground is good. The gray wire is power to the fuel pump, pink wire is ground to the fuel pump, believe it or not. So if I put an ohm meter across these 2 pins here, I should check continuity of the fuel pump itself. So I got the ohm meter hooked up to the 2 pins, the gray and pink pins, which are actually going directly to the fuel pump, and it shows over 400 ohms. I'm going to just change this resolution to about 400K and see what we got. Yeah, we definitely have an open circuit in the fuel pump. Well, look at the availability of a fuel pump, but chances are it's likely the fuel pump. Tried banging on the tank, but I don't think that's going to help. So I temporarily removed it from the floor and I backpinned those 2 output pins, and I've got it connected to a headlight. Now I'm going to use the scan tool to command the fuel pump on and see if it'll light the headlight. And it does. And off. And on. And off. So definitely needs a fuel pump or a wiring repair to the fuel pump. We're going to have to lift it up and have a look. This also will cycle the headlight on for about 1 second. If I put this up here where we can see it, go in the cab of the vehicle, turn the key off for a few seconds. Yeah, about 5 to 10 seconds, then turn the key on. No, it wasn't long enough, I guess. Well, I could try it cranking. Definitely runs the fuel pump. So, let's lift it up and have a look. So to get this fuel pump out of here, to drop the tank, because this is an all-wheel drive, you have to drop this drive shaft, drop the exhaust. I wonder if there's a connector anywhere between the fuel pump driver and the actual fuel pump. It wasn't illustrated in that schematic, but I'm going to look and see if there's a connector. Maybe there's another place we could test this before we go into it. So in the schematic it shows this connector X350. Let's find out where that connector is, because that would be a good place to check it. Sometimes circuits fail at connectors. So I'm pretty sure that X350 connector is just behind the left rear wheel. I think I can see it there. I'm going to try and zoom in on that. And if you look carefully over to the right there, let's try and focus. There's some green death right here. Very suspicious looking. Let's take this wheel off and have a look at that. So I haven't taken it off, I've just blown it off a bit, but that's suspicious. That wire is definitely corroded. Look at that's the fuel pump wire going through that connector. You can see the pink and gray at the top. And I guess the road salt and the grime from this attacked that insulation somehow. Well, we'll take this connector apart and see if we can fix that wire. Well, that's definitely the problem. In fact, maybe there's enough wire here I can actually just splice it and I don't have to replace this terminal. Well, the wire was just looped out and got attacked by the Mother Nature. Well, we'll just splice this wire with a piece. So I spliced in a piece of wire to attach to replace the broken part here, and packed the connector full of dielectric grease, put it back together again, and I suspect this thing is going to run. Boy, I'm glad I found that before I dropped the fuel tank. That would have sucked. Anyways, so this vehicle does not need a fuel pump, it just needed a wiring repair. We're good to go.